Well, hey everyone, and welcome to the Jeep Life Podcast Live Edition. Coming at you live with several weeks, months without an actual episode. So we'll get started in just a few minutes. I'll let some people get on, and I know it's probably odd. We may not have anybody get on early on, so we'll see. We'll see where that goes. All right, who's going to jump on and be first? We've got we've got it going and rolling, and I think in the ask for um, questions is what are you looking forward to this summer? Um, what will be um, what will be your desire? Events, camping, a trip that you have planned, something like that. Throw that in the comments, and maybe we'll discuss that on on air. We'll see. What's up, Jake? Thanks for cheering us on to get back on. Um, it is a solo night tonight, so I'll do my best to make it interesting and having fun. Hey, what's up, Andy? Again, it's just me tonight. Everybody's busy lives going, and I got to get real active with that and try to figure it out. I know I've been traveling a lot, um, so we'll see if I can get more consistent with this. It's tough. It's tough. Well, it is certainly good to be back. Good to be back in the saddle. And I don't know if you guys can hear or not, but I do have a new Jeep dog in the family. And her name is Coco, and she is a handful. And but she's a blast, and she loves to ride around in the Jeep. We haven't taken her on the trail yet, but we'll see. Maybe that'll be a part of the actual show. Yeah, it's been a while, Andy, and I know we don't live far from each other, and it's been a while. So um, I'm good. I'm busy. I'm tired. I'm all those things, um, but it's all good. All right, I think it's about time for me just to hit the button and let it rip. Well, hey everyone, and welcome to the Jeep Life Podcast. We're the podcast that just celebrates that Jeep life and everything that comes with it, and we are proudly presented by Armorlight, the toughest flooring on the trail. And it's one of those things where I I'm a customer of Armorlight, and I have um, treated it so poorly, and it always looks amazing. Our thanks to them for being our presenting sponsor, and get a discount. Our code is Jeep Life Podcast 10. Get you a complete system at goarmorlight.com. Thanks to Cal, Dave, and the guys for always being there for us and with us. It's exciting. Uh, I'm your host, Jeep and Terry, and I'm doing a solo show tonight, and we're just so busy, and I have to ask forgiveness. Uh, I've been on the road with work for the last couple months and haven't had the ability to hit a show. I'm going to make it my life's mission to record even when I'm traveling, do something so that you guys have that Jeep life coming into your car, your home, your garage, wherever it is that it comes from. And so that's my pledge to you. Thanks for staying with me, even when we weren't always there. Um, Tonight's episode, last sponsorship as of right now with the great guys at Globex Performance and GBX Manufacturing, the Jersey Shore's Jeep and 4x4 experts, globexperformance.com for all your needs. They've taken care of Kylo, and my Jeep is rocking right now with the exception of one thing that I need to get fixed, but that's not their fault, that's mine. Well, actually, that's Jeep's fault for having faulty oil cooler. Um, but anyway, go check them out, see them, tell them Jeep and Terry sent you, and if they don't run you out of town, they'll take real good care of your vehicle. Uh, so it's been a hot minute since I've been in town and not on the road. Uh, so I'll give you the overview of what happened and where I've been, and kind of real quick show and tell of what I've done and where I've been. Started out in April. I went to Easter Jeep Safari, and as I normally do with work, because it's a work trip. I'm actually working. Um, I I get on the road and I go and see installers and jobbers, or warehouse distributors of Oracle lighting, and go and say hey, um, and kind of show off the vehicle. I generally will take the Gladiator with me, and it's all decked out with our lights and everything. It's a pretty decent Gladiator. It's a Rubicon on 37s, um, but it's fun to take that out on the road and be out there and meet people and talk to our people, the people that are doing the installs, the people that are selling our products. So it's pretty awesome to be out there and talking with them. And so I take about 10 days to get out to Moab, driving for a while, stopping in a major city, and then going on. I flew from here down to New Orleans, picked up I did a quick event while I was down there. It was awesome, little small Jeep show, in Gonzales, Texas, um, and came back and loaded up the Gladiator and headed out. So I left New Orleans in the Gladiator, drove to the Dallas Fort Worth area, went and saw a couple shops there. It was great. Got to see some friends in the Dallas area. Used to live there, uh, and that was great. And then from there, um, made it all the way to Albuquerque, went to a couple shops in Albuquerque. I went to grad school in Albuquerque, so I know the city, got some good food. And then saw some great shops, headed out of town all the way up to Denver. Saw some few people up there, overnighted. It was great. I love Denver. Denver's a great city. Some point I need to get out there and do some wheeling in Colorado and spend some time. But this, stop in, see some shops, and then cruise on out. And then from there, went up through Wyoming. One of the most beautiful drives ever. It's just gorgeous up there, across 80 over to Salt Lake City. Spent a day and a half in Salt Lake City. Went and saw some really good shops there. And then from Salt Lake City, head through the pass down to Moab. and that's always fun. There's a little cemetery right off the road that I always stop to and just go and spend a few minutes. It's nice and peaceful, and when I'm going through there, it's last year I was hauling a trailer, and so those mountain roads are a little more, but I with a Gladiator no trailer just heading on through, and then I stopped and just relax for a minute. And it's good to kind of be able to reflect in the mountains in Utah and just stop for just a second. And then I headed on into Moab, met up with my friends from Quadratech and Tyree and Jeep Performance Parts, and then had margaritas and hung out. That's our first night in Moab, as always, margaritas. And then spent 7 days just hitting trails, and every day had two. This year, the most trails I've ever done. I did 2 trails a day. With one day I did 3. A couple of them were shorter 2-hour jaunts, go out and come back kind of thing. New trail to me this year, Behind the Rocks, and that's actually kind of where we started. And Gatekeeper is no joke. It's one of the steepest things I've done. And it was fun to do. That's the first obstacle, and they call it the Gatekeeper because if you can get through that, you can get through the rest of the trail. But it was awesome, and to be able to do that, I had forgotten to put my lockers on, and I just walked right up it. It was. I'm always blown away by what a Jeep can do without being a super spectacular build, and with this, it just, that Gladiator Rubicon just walked right up, and we spent the rest of the day. It's one of those things. So you get back there, and there's an incredible, just there was actually an arch out where you take your photo lined up there, and somebody was camping out there, and at first I was like, oh man, the campers are gonna blow our picture, and then I was like, are you kidding me? They're living the dream. They're camping out here underneath this arch at this beautiful scenic place out in the middle of Nowheresville, Moab, and I'm like, oh, this is. I'm jealous now. They're living the life. And then on Wednesday, we hosted our trail ride. We co-sponsored that with Tyree Lights, and it was the ultimate. We called it the ultimate night revenge, because 2 lighting companies paired up to do Hell's Revenge. While we're in the parking lot doing our drivers meeting, just group after group after group after group started heading out on Hell's Revenge, and we're like, it's going to take us forever to get back to the overlook of the Colorado River, and then B, people are going to be there in our picture, so we're not going to really get to have a good picture spot, a photo spot. That was the whole goal, was to have a good spot and kind of have some camaraderie and hang out. And then do, Hell's Gate for those people that wanted to do that. It'd be great for all that. But with all those people going in, we, on the fly, said, let's do the backside of Fins and Things, which is a great night ride. There's some vistas that you can see. And, it's funny because when you're on Hell's Revenge at night, you can actually see the lights from people in Fins and Things and vice versa. So it's good to see, people out far away. So we were able to get some great photography. We took Matt Corbin with us. We hired him as our photographer. He's done great work for us. We call him the Gazelle because you never know where he's going to be and taking that shot. He might be up on a cliff one instance, and then down in a lower area the next. But he's so talented and such a great photographer. So he's kind of our yearly book to get him out there. And Moab is extraordinary any time of the day, any time of the year. But the weather was terrific for us, and it was gorgeous. It was like 80 degrees every day. It was sunny, beautiful. Then, the vendor show comes along, and then it starts getting cold and snowy, and I'm like, well, I'm glad we're inside, right? So all the vendors that are outside have to deal with the weather, and that's one of the reasons why I always book the inside part, because then you don't have to deal with the weather, and it's just a better atmosphere for that. But 2 days of vendor show, and then we're out. Um, this year, instead of driving through the night, the first night we stayed and drove out the next day, which was fine until we got outside of Albuquerque. We stopped for lunch, and the snowflakes were incredibly huge, and I was like, this isn't good. But nothing was sticking there until we got the pass outside of Albuquerque, and then it just dumped, and it was a whiteout. I was surrounded on all three sides by tractor trailers going 10 miles an hour. It was abysmal. But made it back to New Orleans. And this year, Easter Jeep Safari was late, because of Easter being a little bit later in the month, and it was right up against Daytona. So, all those vendors were just hammering from, you know, Moab to Daytona, and that's not a short drive. So I headed to New Orleans, reloaded everything into the Bronco. I mean, not the Bronco, the Gladiator, and headed to Daytona for Jeep Beach. And Jeep Beach does not disappoint. It's a huge show at Daytona International Speedway. All week there's festivities going on. If you're into Jeeps and you want to do beach stuff, it, in my opinion, is my second favorite beach show of the year. First being New Jersey Jeep Invasion. I love that show. I try to go every year, and of course we're a sponsor. Oracle Lighting is a sponsor. We've done live broadcasts and with the podcast there. It's kind of but Daytona is, it's crazy. Just the number of Jeeps and everything. So it was a good weekend, and we packed it in, headed back. I flew back up here for my kid's prom. Couldn't miss that. We had another event going on at the same time, Toyota event that is a first time going to, and that was kind of fun. But I didn't go because I needed to spend time with my kid, which, everybody knows Lexi. She's great. Cool Jeeper. And then from there, I flew to New Orleans. No, I flew to Phoenix because we're going to Overland West. And Overland West, if you are into overlanding your vehicle, it is, the Overland Expo shows are just your heaven, right? It's everything you need for outdoor overlanding in your vehicle. Some of the regulars are there, but then there's all these tent manufacturers, the number of LMTVs and big, military expedition vehicles that were there was just incredible. Our LMTV was going, and it broke down on the way out, so we had to kind of improvise and rent a U-Haul, get all our stuff out, and then I ended up being one of two people driving the U-Haul back to New Orleans. And so that added a few more days to my incredibly busy schedule. But it was great to spend time with a coworker for that long. It was, you get to know somebody when you're living in a U-Haul with them as you cross country. So it was a lot of fun, and that kind of wraps up my busy time, my busy schedule. So a lot of driving this year, and it was still fun. So if you have any questions about any of those events or want to go to them yourself and want to find out more about it, hit us up. info@jeeplifepodcast.com. We'll read your question on air and then we'll answer it. What is coming up tonight I thought it would be fun to kind of do the unwritten rules of being in the Jeep life and what that's like. So I thought it was fun to kind of hit that up. And I did ask for some questions or expectations for the summer from our listeners. And if we get any of those in the live chat, then I'll read those and go on from there. But what are your plans for your Jeep this summer? Do you have any events that you want to go to? Are there some shows? Are you planning on showing your vehicle at shows, show and shines, etc., like that? Or are you camping? Any trips you're going on? Are you taking an expedition to Alaska? Let us know in the comments. Maybe we'll talk about it on air. But as always, I'm going to put out a call to you, our listener. Give us a review. Find us on your podcast location or Facebook, and just give us a review. Let us know how we're doing, what you'd like to hear, what you'd like to hear more of, what you like to hear less. Definitely that you want us to be a little more consistent with our recordings, so I can go with that. Events. I only have June and July in right now. For our events. Bantam Jeep Festival in Butler, Pennsylvania. I will be there, and it's going to be a blast. That's the birthplace of Jeep. That's where they say it's going to be. So we're going to be there with Oracle Lighting. I'm going to be in the booth, as well as the Downtown Invasion, which is crazy number of Jeeps that descend on Butler, Pennsylvania, and kind of have a field day with that. And so I'll be there. July 11th through the 13th is the New Jersey Jeep Invasion, Wildwood, New Jersey. Again, I'll be there with Oracle Lighting. We're the official lighting sponsor of the Jeep Invasion, and I know that I'll have my vehicle there. I'll have the Oracle Wrangler. I'll have 3, maybe 4 other vehicles in the booth. We're going to partner with our good friends at Globex Performance. They're going to have some of our products in their booth, and I'm going to have their products on my Jeep, so you can check those out. But yeah, that'll be a lot of fun, and what's better than Jeep on a beach? I mean, other than the sand gets everywhere. And then July 18th through the 20th is PA Jeeps All Breeds in Carlisle. I won't be there. I have another event commitment, not a Jeep event. It's a Bronco event in Wildwood. So I'll be down there quite a bit for that. All right. So it looks like Glenn, he's not taking his Jeep, but he's going to Lake George for camping at the end of August. Lake George is just beautiful. I'd like to spend some time there. Yeah, I see people, Mike and Tom. You guys will be at New Jersey Jeep Invasion as well. I can't wait. Andy's going to be boating. However, in the fall, he plans to initiate a conversation on Globex Performance. Oh, a semi swapped. Yeah. And they're the guys to talk to for sure for that. I just came up and got my elbows licked by the Jeep dog. So make sure to reach out to them, Andy. They're awesome people. Oh, Jason. Yeah, that'd be great to have your garage built. And where you can do all the projects, and I can come over and work in your garage. Oh, cool. You'll be at Bantam as well. That's great, Tom. We'll be hanging out, I'm sure. I can't wait. All right, on to the main topic. And I don't know why. I just thought it would be cool to kind of hit up the unwritten rules of the Jeep life. And I kind of broke them down into categories, and kind of wanted to jump in there. We don't really talk about this enough. We kind of just assume that there's unwritten things that you need to do. These aren't in your owner's manual. You're not going to check it out from Jeep. You won't find it in the dealer brochure, but every seasoned Jeeper knows them. And let's try to share them, and let's build our community so, that everybody can get along. And I am this first one's kind of the Jeep wave. It just wave. Don't leave people hanging. How many times do I, throw up the deuces and, people don't wave back. But it's fun for our community to kind of, give that little nod to show that you're a comrade in arms with them, not truly in arms, but, give that nod. Is it a Wrangler only thing? And here's my rule. If it's a built Jeep in any way, they're getting the fingers. If it's an XJ that's built up, they're getting the wave. If it's a WJ that's built up, they're getting the wave. Gladiator, Wrangler, it's hard to tell the difference, when they're coming on between a Gladiator and a Wrangler, because everything's the same from the B pillar forward. Throw it up. And I want a Gladiator. It's a given. I want a Gladiator. But I don't necessarily think that it's every Jeep branded vehicle, but I can tell if somebody's spent some time and even, if somebody's done, a Renegade for their Overland, and it's I'm gonna throw it up there out of respect, That's just who I am. But if it's, a stock out of the showroom, Grand Cherokee or, Grand Wagoneer, I'm not throwing up the deuces. Acknowledge your fellow Jeeper. The community thrives on recognition and respect. So, throw it up there. All right, Jason. Yeah. Oh, you'll be able to get 4. Oh my God, this is going to be a great garage. All right, have a good night at work, Jason. Trail etiquette. Respect the ride and the ride away. And, this is not something, and I hope if I've gotten it wrong, let me know. Off-road trails aren't free-for-alls. There is some etiquette and there's some kind of things to live by. Uphill traffic has a right of way. And I think, when you're skiing, the skier below you has the right of way, and that's kind of the same rule of thumb. If someone breaks down, help out, or at least offer to help out. Check in with our fellow off-roaders. Stop and offer assistance. Do they need the help? If you're out in a group, keep your group tight. Don't let space get in there, because you never know, the person behind you might need help. I always kind of go with the thing, if you can't see the Jeep behind you in the mirror, stop. And, maybe honk and let the person know you in front of you know that you're stopping. But I think it's important to keep it tight. You don't want to tailgate. You want to give, enough space that, if people have issues or, they're trying to climb an obstacle or, roll back off of an obstacle, give them space. But always wait. And especially like at forks in the road, wait until the person behind you comes so that you can then turn. And if everybody in your group does that, then nobody's going to get lost. It's not as important, in the, well, I guess it is. If you open a gate, close it behind you. So if your trail leads you into private property or off private property and you have to go through a gate, show respect, close it behind you. And, there might be animals and livestock and stuff that need to be kept in or kept out, or maybe it's just a private road, and so respect that and close it behind you. This one's the most important. Tread lightly. If you see trash, pick it up. If don't hammer the mud in a way that's going to harm the environment. Stay on the trail. Don't wander off. And that's a little bit of trail etiquette. I think it's important to be respectful to our outdoor lives, our the stuff we're getting to do. All the time our activity is being threatened. A little trail etiquette might help a long ways, right? Mod envy, or admire, don't insult. I would be honest, we all love to mod our vehicles, but not everybody's vehicle is modded the way that you would modify it. And so, respect it. Don't knock on somebody else's build. Every Jeep has a story. Not everybody can afford, Dana 60s and alarm on kit. But a stock Jeep is very, very capable. Encourage that person with a stock Jeep just to get out there. Also, there are some, and I, as someone who's in the industry and I go to different events, there are some modifications that, I would never, ever do to my vehicle. But somebody has spent a lot of time and effort and maybe a lot of money to do a modification to their vehicle the way they want it. And you kind of have to respect that, right? You have to kind of, I don't want to say live with it, but, just a nice rig, or, you don't have to, hey man, hey, you did a great job with your build. Not, well, why'd you do that? Why'd you make that choice? If you have suggestions, ask them if they're open for, suggestions, or if they're open to recommendations. But, keep it to yourself. If, the whole adage, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. But do that. I'm going to stop here. Roy, I think you are hooked, and I can't wait to get you out on the trail with us. Yeah, and plus, you were out in the 392. I mean, it just makes you giggle the whole time. Yeah, Jeep judging. We all do it internally. If you're going to do it, just do it inside your brain and don't let it out. Parking. I have a rule. If I see a Jeep in a parking lot, I'm going to park next to it if I can. It's there's just no, I have a friend of mine who works in a location in our town, and just whenever I would see her Jeep parked, I would literally go and park beside it and take a picture and send it to our Jeep group, or text it to her, and it kind of became fun just to even if I wasn't going to that destination, I would just do it for the fun of it. So I think it's cool. Just go park next to them. And if you're a Jeeper, maybe you want to leave a spot, or park strategically so that if somebody does want to come and park next to you, leave space. As 2 Jeeps side by side, that's something special. 3 or more, you've got to meet up, right? And I talked about getting the photo. Be professional. Set your wheels so that they look good in the photo. And there's those people that do the stacking and everything. Don't stack on somebody's Jeep if they don't have your if you don't have their permission. But that's also a lot of fun. Danny, I have 392 Envy as well, but it's funny because I love the 392 and I couldn't stop giggling. But the 4xe or the electric is just as fun, and it's it's I love it. So parking, go park next to your friends. Don't leave somebody hanging. All right, this one is we kind of already touched on but you know, if somebody needs help, give it. If you need to, if somebody needs a tug out of the mud, do it. Offer that up because you might need it someday. So trail camera is real. Um, if you have case of a bottle of water in the fridge or the cooler in the back, hand them out on the trail. I think I kind of have the motto, and I got this kind of from my friend Scott, who's been on the show. He's a friend of the show. Just if you have something in your rig, it's shareable, right? If I have a bag of chips, everybody's got a bag of chips. If I've got water, a cooler full of water, everybody's got a cooler full of water, right? Substitute, beverage of choice there, but not on trail. Just when you get back to the trailhead or at the campsite. We thrive when we're helping each other out, and I think it's important that we do so. Just follow that golden rule: be everybody's friend. I I think sometimes Jeepers get a bad rap. I don't think that's happened so much recently, but don't be elitist about it. I founded a Jeep club, and everything we do is Jeeps only, right? We kind of make it that way. But when I'm out on the trail, if I see a Yoda, if I see a Bronco, man, I'm gonna say, hey, I'm gonna nice rig. I'm gonna compliment them. So you're a representation of our community when you're out on the trail and you've got that Jeep logo on your. I'm not trying to kill anybody, but it's kind of my little soapbox. Be the good person, and have fun, but not at the expense of somebody else, right? So you're hanging out with, you've got 3 or 4 people going along, and you see a Yoda that needs some help them, or hey, you guys want to hang with us? It just make friends. Who knows? Maybe they'll see what your Jeep does and they'll want one, right? Or vice versa. You may get a second vehicle out of it, right? So I think it's be courteous. Remember that, you're a Jeeper, and so you're kind of a reflection on all of us, because sometimes people can't, even on highway, people can't differentiate, between the Jeeps like we can. We can almost tell you what everything is going on with that. And some people, civilians, right? They may not know. They just associate you're a Jeeper. You cut me off. Now all Jeepers are bad. We know that's not the case, but just be aware that kind of be a lesson. I don't want to preach. I don't want to kind of be a Debbie Downer, but be cool, be courteous, be kind. That's all I have for those. If anybody has any others, make sure to shoot them to me, and we'll do maybe a wrap up on this, or a recall. Oh, Danny, you ducked a Bronco at the gas station. Um, oh, yeah, oh, women drive it. Most Jeeps flip her off. Oh, come on. You're right, Danny. We are better than that, and I think that's, you know, I'm not so much into the ducking community, but you know what? I've got my little duck here. I got a couple of duckies here on my desk. Um, and if I get one, I regift it to somebody else because it might change their day. I don't necessarily know that if there's a sweet Bronco parked next to me, they might get a duck. You know, Danny, I like that philosophy. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Um, you know, these are my thoughts. If you have something, um, be sure to reach out and let us know. You know, maybe we missed something. Review us. Send people our way. I think tonight's been awesome because we've gotten some great listener interactions, and um, I have a few of these. And these are Jeep Life Podcast stickers. I've put this call out there before. If you want one for your vehicle, and it's always fun to see them. I've seen them in Tennessee. I've seen them, when I've been out off road. If you want one, um, send me your information at info@jeeplifepodcast.com, and I'll mail one out. It won't cost you anything. I'll just do it. Um, we have a good time doing what we do. We love to share it, and to be honest with you, we love seeing our stickers out on vehicles, or wherever they might be sticker slapped. But if you want one for your own vehicle, send me an email at info@jeeplifepodcast.com, and I'll get one out to you. That's it for me. We would love to have you as a Patreon subscriber. Go to patreon.com and look us up. Go to our website. There's links there for everything. YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe there as well, because we always do some cool content there. Yeah, Danny, I'll have them in Pigeon Forge for sure. So we'd want to thank our sponsors. Presenting sponsor, Armorlight, toughest floor in the trail. Globex Performance for everything you do. We appreciate you. And Power Tank, they're our good friends. I got to see the good guys, Tyler, out at Overland West. But Jeep Life Pod 15 for a complete system at checkout at powertank.com. Check those guys out. Pipes, they're offering free shipping on their systems for our listeners. Jeep Life at pipesexhaust.com or pipesexhaust.com. Our thanks to everybody that listens, tunes in, hangs out with us, our sponsors. Until the next time, here's a big Jeep wave to you, everybody. See you soon.